my family has this 1927 American LaFrance.
Nice.
T-head engine, 4-cylinder. So I drove that to prom.
Wow.
Whoa.
Cool.
It's all original paint, so it's like, it's not like a, showroom quality, but that's what's kind of cool about it.
What did your prom date think of it?
Well, I remember the wind was a factor. The wind was a very big factor for her hair.
Messed up her hair.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, again, you know better, but it's like you drive some of these things and you're gonna reek of gas and exhaust afterwards. So we like get to the prom reeking, But like, hey, compared to the kid with the stretch Hummer, like I made the best entrance.
That's
I'd say,
awesome.
you know,
that is so cool.
So stuff like that. Now I have a 2006 NC Miata as my daily driver.
Canyon Carver.
Sure. It's fun. I mean, it's like the compulsion of every Miata owner to say how fun the car is. So I guess I'll be that guy.
The proof is in the pudding, though. I mean, the Miata is such a fun car to drive.
Yeah.
I grew up driving my grandfather's 91 Special Edition with the plate Miata. He was the first person in Rhode Island to actually get a Miata. So that the Miata runs deep through my blood. But you're also a two-wheeled man. You love motorcycles.
Yes. So my dad and I, we built this BMW R80/7 1978.
Cross-country trip, right?
And we took a cross-country trip from Maine to here in October. And that was, to that point, was one of the hardest things I had ever done. We did it in 8 days. There's no fairing on this bike. There's no windshield. And it's a vintage bike, so carburation, points, and at one point the front brake was set a little too tight so that it was just like on a tiny bit. Which was fine until like you've been on it for several hours and then you pull into the gas station and it just locks up like at low speed. You finally slowed down and it just locked instantly, and I like tumble off. And I wasn't hurt. I like did a tumble and like ta-da at the end. Like so embarrassing in front of the entire fill-up station. But yeah, we rode through rain and like sleet and really cold temperatures. We went through like tornadoes in Texas. I mean, not through a tornado, but they were right there in the area. Weather. Funny story about that. So we're staying. We got cut off due to the weather. We could see it coming in, and we're like, oh, we better stop for the night. And we're watching the weather forecast, like watching this just like giant cells coming across directly in between where we need to go. And so like at 5 o'clock in the morning, my dad wakes me up. He's like, we gotta go right now. There's a hole in the weather system. We can make it. I think we can punch through. I'm like, okay. Like I'm like delirious. And like, so he's gone into the gas station and grabbed some items for us to eat as like this makeshift breakfast. And okay, and we're like, next thing you know, we're on the bike. It's dumping. He's in front of me on his motorcycle, and I'm just watching his taillight. That's like all I can see, and it's the craziest lightning I've ever seen in my entire life, where it just goes across the entire sky. Like the bolt just starts over here and like the whole sky. And
can you do that lightning noise again? That sounded so cool on the headphones. I'm sorry.
So I'm literally just in survival mode watching his taillight. I'm a fairly new rider at this point, and all of a sudden I see just this flash of like metallic go under my front wheel. And we had those little communicators, helmet to helmet. And I'm like, Dad, what the F was that? What did we just hit? Like, and he's like, I don't know. What are you talking about? I'm like, you didn't even see it. No. I'm like, this is so stupid. We got to pull over. Like, I'm like freaking out.
Yeah.
I am freaking out. So we pull over. Me and my dad had some choice words that you have to have like on a road trip, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Hole in the weather, huh?
Hadn't opened yet.
I was thinking like, because I had to get back to work. I had to go back to the Tonight Show, and we were like, it was a hiatus week, so I took that week to do this motorcycle trip. But I've got to be back at work on Monday morning, so we had to break through that storm. So I was thinking maybe we'd load the bikes into like a U-Haul for part of the way, and then I don't know. But I realized what it was. My dad had bought a package of Fig Newtons as our breakfast.
Ultimate dad move.
That he had put on the back of the motorcycle. So that's why he didn't see it.
Yeah,
and I saw,
flew
you know
off
how
his
those
bike.
Fig Newtons, it's like a foil
We
lining.
have them. We have them.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys are
We got them. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we made it the rest of the way. It was so weird after those 8 days. Being in a car for the first time after that was like such a foreign experience. Just the windshield, like I'm not getting blasted in the face, and I'm warm and comfortable. It was so weird.
I know exactly how you feel when I come back from a track day weekend, or if I'm on the bike for like 3 days straight, and I get back in a car, and you know, at a track day you're doing like close to like 160, 170 miles an hour at some point. You get in a car and you just like 50 miles an hour.
Yeah,
it's like
just on a smooth pavement.
It's so smooth. It's like, this is great.
Totally. So that I still have that bike. I'll never sell that bike. That's like, you know, such a sentimental thing.
And now you have a bit of a more comfortable mode of transportation.
I do. Yeah. So I have a 2016 BMW R1200 RS. And it's like the same thing. It's kind of like the spiritual successor of my 78. So it's a boxer, but now it's not an airhead. It's liquid cooled, and it's fun.
Yeah,
you should.
I know. I wanna rip that up the Angeles Crest for us.
It's not the fastest bike, but it's fast enough, and it's also, you can put saddlebags on it. So me and my buddy Danny, who's our audio guy on JLS Garage, he's got a GS, so
nice.
We'll do trips and go up camping in Yosemite and stuff like that.
And I cut you off the last time. You can go.
Oh no, I was gonna say. And now you've turned to air, right?
Yeah. So this is like a really fun thing for me. I really genuinely love this. I went and got my private pilot license. We had a gap in between filming. Between seasons where you're waiting for the network to pick you up again, and so I had a little bit of idle time, and it's something I've always wanted to do, and so I went through the process. I started in September of 21, and I got it in April of 22, so coming up on just about a year of having my license. One of the hardest things I've ever done. And some people will be like, no, it's super easy. Not for me. It was really challenging. And like the knowledge, look, flying a plane's pretty easy. I think most people would agree. It's everything else, right? It's like the knowledge component. And I mean, even the flying, like taking off and landing especially, right? It's difficult to like pick up. I'd say it took 15 hours in the plane with an instructor to feel like, oh, okay, I'm starting to get like a handle on this. Mm-hmm. You know, you'll have like one or two good landings, and then like you'll blow the next three. Man. So like that's another thing about it is that, like it will humble you. It has to. And part of the test, I would argue, it forces you to be humble. Like, you can't get an A+ on this test. Can't get a perfect 100. Like, the examiner wants to see, like, how are you going to react when things don't go so well?
Yeah.
So if you're just acing the test, he's going to throw a curveball, something that you're not going to know.
Yeah.
And how are you going to deal? You know, and meanwhile, you got to like talk to air traffic control and fly the airplane and figure out where you are. And, you know.
It's the ultimate problem solving. That's what goes into getting, like, that's what everyone, like you're saying, is it's not what goes right, it's how you react when something goes wrong.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for gearheads, if you have the interest, I'd highly recommend that you go do this. It totally goes hand in hand with being a car guy. It's like details, and I mean, it's the plane I fly. It's a Piper Archer 2, little 4-cylinder, air cooled, very simple engine, but yet you can fly in an airplane in this thing. So do it. Like, go do it. Go do like a discovery flight. You don't have to commit to the whole thing. If you like it, great. And if you don't, bail. But like,
not in the air though.
Yeah.
No.
Grab a parachute.
I haven't done that yet, but something to do. But by the way, did you see this? Never mind.
Look at the YouTube guy.
The YouTube guy.
Yeah, he got it. Did he
Don't
get
do that.
Did he get it taken away for?
He
his
did.
license?
Yeah. He's in big
Wait,
trouble.
what happened?
So YouTube stunt. Would you call him a stunt man? If you like a skydiver stunt man.
Sure.
So, he essentially flew his plane. He had his pilot's license, and he said he had an emergency, and he was filming, and he bailed from his plane, and his plane crashed into a side of a mountain, essentially. But after the investigation, it found that he intentionally crashed it.
Right.
Not cool.
So, like, as an example,
Jesus.
I would fly in that area when I was doing my training, and I would flew right through that area as a solo student. So, like, one of the things you have to do is you have to demonstrate you can fly by yourself, and you have to go a certain distance. Well, I was flying in that area. So can you imagine the fact somebody's just
Bailed the plane. Perfectly good plane.
That's crazy.
So don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think universally the community came forward. The flying community was like, this is really bad. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Even before the investigation, because there were like a few things that just smelled a little bit iffy about that.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
So I always think about motorcycles all the time, and I feel like I have a sense of freedom. Is that sense of freedom when you fly a plane, is it like riding a motorcycle, or is it just more?
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing because all over this country you have airports, and some of them are really kind of tiny, small airports, and there's just like a mom and pop cafe there. And there's like this before, I wasn't aware of it before I started my training, but it's like amazing the infrastructure that we have in this country. And truth of the matter is that a lot of these little airports are under threat because it's like, we don't like the noise, or it's pollution, but it's infrastructure we've already put in, that we've invested in, and it's incredibly important. People really should think about these airports like a main street in a town. It's like there are jobs and people there. And it's like vitally important that we hold on to this, because it's like, the temptation to just like throw up a giant high-rise apartment building, is real. And it's real here in LA too.